One of the things I like to do is mark the anchor. How much anchor line do I have out? I would really like to know. I'd like the anchor line to tell me that. To read this marking, I got white, black, black, so that's going to be 2, that's number 3.
Oh. Got 8?
10, 10, 10, these 3 are all 10.
Those 3 are? Oh, okay.
Now I'll take this inside.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna mark it all and then just...
No, I want to mark the one, then I want to whip it and make sure that it works before I spend all the time.
Oh, that makes sense. That is why you're doing this and I am not. That is why you're doing this and I am not. Good thinking there, Tex.
Right.
I never said I was the smart one. That's the smart one right there.
marks that I've seen go out. Now I'm just going to the anchor set itself here. I've got it in reverse. I'm watching my GPS speed. See that right there? GPS speed 0.3 knots. See right there's where I dropped the anchor. I backed up. I'm just going to hold position. And look at that. GPS speed is 0. I backed up. Now if I touch right there, that tells me it's 203 feet away, approximately from where the anchor was dropped, and I started moving backwards. So we just dropped the anchor. Motor's just in gear in reverse. And we are not moving. Right there. Not moving. So usually I'll hang out here and I look at my little clock right there and I watch the second hand and I'll make sure I got 60 seconds of in reverse and 0 knots. And that's how you set the anchor. Make sure it's in there good and solid so the boat doesn't move. So as I paid it out, I could see my markings go over the windless. I just counted, there's 4 of them, like a 50-footed chain, plus another 4 markings that went over. Each marking is another 30 fathoms. Or 5 fathoms rather. 5 fathoms, 30 feet. Alright, here we are sitting at anchor. We just came out into 30 foot of water. We're in Elgar Bay, just off of Camino Island by the state park. And I looked and I was in 30 foot of water, and I went over and dropped all my anchor line until I saw marking number 4. I set the anchor and then I reeled it in to number 3, a little over number 3, and I'm good to go with a 1 to 5 rode. That was pretty nice. So one of the challenges that I've had on anchoring is with the rock to anchor, they recommend that you set out at least a 1 to 5 rode and put it in reverse and bury the anchor, and it takes about 60 seconds in reverse where you're at 0 knots but the anchor itself is actually getting buried into the ground. That's how you set it, and then once it's set you can actually reel the rode in down to 1 to 3, which is really nice for anchorages which are usually fairly packed. Alright, so you don't want to have too much rope out there where you're swinging and hogging all the space. Well, when I go to reel in the rope, I'm like, how much rope am I reeling in? Right? So we decided to go mark the anchor to do that. Well, to come up with a way to mark the anchor, I looked at a lot of different ways that people do it, and this is what I came up with, right? So some people that I read online was they were using spray paint to mark it. The paint then they say would flake off. Some people would use tie wraps. Then they would complain the tie wraps would get broken off in the gypsies that runs through the windlass. So I decided to do just regular rope whipping. It didn't take all that long, so I went down to the marine store and said, let me go get some whipping. I need multiple colors. Some people were using 3, 4, 5 colors. You know, blue was for 25 foot, white was for 50 foot, you know, green was for 75 foot, something of that nature, and then try and come up with some kind of a system. I didn't want to deal with a whole lot of colors or a whole lot of markings, so I ended up looking at the binary system. Now, don't think this is too technical and you got to become a computer nerd for this. This just shows the how-to. It's actually much easier in practical application. So by using 3 markings per section of rope, call it 3 digits, I can get a number of 1 to 6 easily, right? And I can read it anytime and put that together. I only need 2 colors, black and white, which was good. That was actually all the marine store had, and I didn't want to wait for Amazon to mail me anything to get different colors and try and come up with that. So anyhow, the way you read this is, call it 3 positions. The first position, the second position, the third position. It always has to be read in the same direction. So in this case, I put the anchor to my right, and the marking closest to the anchor is the first marking, then the second, then the third, right? And the way binary works is each position doubles. So you goes 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32. We don't need all of those digits though, because I'm only going to number 6. So to get from 0 to 6, I can do that in 3 markings. So so that's what I've done here. So in this example right here, black is on, white is off. So in this case, I see the third position is white, so I disregard that because that's a 0. But the middle position is on, so that's 2. And the first position is on, that's 1. 2 plus 1 is 3, so I'm at the third marking. And the markings, I space them out at 30 foot because it's a multiple of 5 fathoms. If I would have done 25 foot or 20 foot, then the fathom number has a remainder. So this way I could use the system to talk fathoms, or I can use it to talk feet. Either way, it's interchangeably, and it gives me enough markings that I can get my 1 to 3, 1 to 5 road out without going overboard with how many numbers I have to have and work with. Right, so in this example, if it's number 3, well, 3 times 5 is 15 fathoms, or 3 times 30 foot is 90 feet. That's how much rope's there. Now, I only marked the road itself. The anchor itself is another 50 foot, which is a little over 8 fathoms. And on the anchor, I just marked the halfway point because it's not a multiple of fathoms. And I want all the anchor on the ground anyway, no matter what. So just having it the halfway point when I'm paying it overboard lets me know how much more I have to go. It's really important, like if I'm in 20 feet of water and I got 50 foot of chain, when I get to the halfway point, that at least tells me that the anchor just touched the bottom. And that helps me know, okay, the anchor's right on the bottom, then I can start backing up so that the anchor starts to grab into the water. What I don't want is the anchor to get put overboard and then pile all the chain on top of the anchor. And I don't want the anchor hanging there as I go backwards and the anchor is just floating with me as I go and return. So having the halfway point of the anchor was pretty helpful. And let's see, so when I go to the second chart right here, there's 2 parts. The green is the anchor road that I have today. It's 200 foot of rope and 50 foot of chain. I know for going up into southeast Alaska, we eventually want to make it up to Glacier Bay. And Glacier Bay, they say, be prepared to be anchoring in 90 foot of water. And I'm not going to be able to do that with 250 foot of rope. So I'm going to have to add another 200 foot of rope. I can't fit 400 foot of rope with 50 foot of chain in my anchor locker. So I will have to add the 200 foot onto the existing rope every time that I go to deploy if I want to be in 90 feet of water. But this just gives me the markings and everything so that I would know how much rope to pay out. Now for the second rope, when I get to that stage, I needed numbers 7 through 12. That means I need a 4th character, 4th digit in the binary scheme. But it's still the same concept. So if I look like right here at 1001, I can read that as the furthest. So it's going to be 1, 2, 4, 8. So the first digit is 8, and then 00 plus 1, 8 plus 1 is 9. That's 9 markings. So 9 times 5 fathoms is 45 fathoms. So this way the system lets me do the existing line that I have today, and if I need to add an extra 200 foot of rope, it's also built to be able to let me do that. And I know what markings I've got to do on the additional 200 foot of rope when I buy that. But this makes it easy just to count the markings, and actually as I'm deploying the anchor, I can watch the windlass and I can see the markings go overboard. The black is what you're going to see, but if you notice, every one is a black marking. The whites are harder to see from a distance, obviously. White markings on a white rope, but the black stands out. So as it's going overboard, it's easy to count that from the helm as I'm letting the anchor out. And that's how we mark the anchor. So we're out here on the front of the boat. I'm going to show you what the markings look like. Right there, I can see there's always going to be 3. As long as the anchor's to my right, that's going to tell me I got black to the right, says that's 1. The white means it's 0, which would normally be the 2 spot, and then the number 4 spot is the one on the left, and that's on, so that's 4, that's 5. 5th marking out. And if we look at what's left inside here, there's the bitter end tied to the boat, and that's all the anchor line I have. So I have almost all my anchor line out. I'm on number 5. There's only 6 markings total for 200 foot of rope. The cool thing is it's just the whipping on there, so it wasn't expensive to do. Took a little bit of time. 3 markings. So right here, I know the one on the left is going to say that's 4. That's a 0 plus 1 makes it 5 markings. 5 times 3, because every marking is 30 foot. It's 180 feet of rope plus another 50 foot of chain. That's how I can easily do the math. Here comes another marking. So again, anchor's always got to be to my right, so this tells me 0, 0, that's 4. It's marking number 4 because it's the position in the left. So 4 times 30 foot, it's 120 feet of rope. Or you can say 4 times 5 fathoms. Do it that way too. The cool thing is the markings go right through the window. And here comes marking number 1, which means I have 30 foot left. And the markings I did on the chain, I just did that. That was all I needed to do.
Again, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notification. Stay tuned for more channel surfing.